Welcome. I'm Kinetic Symphony. I hunt down and report on weird and true mysterious stories, from glitches to the paranormal. Would you like even more content? Here's my Patreon. Now onto the stories. Case file number 1335, written by damndingashrubbery. The Tale of the Snake Premonition. I was 9 years old, and I had a dream that I got home from a friend's house, and as I opened the door, out of the corner of my eye, I saw a gray rat scamper along the side of my house, so I stood there for a second just watching it. Then I looked down and a rattlesnake was right next to my leg. Of course I panic and step back, but the snake strikes and bites my leg. I scream and roll around and my leg burns, even in the dream it burned. My father comes out and sees me on the ground, and I tell him I was bit by a rattlesnake. He rushed me to the hospital. Time gets real malleable, and I don't remember traveling to the hospital or checking in, but I end up on a bed and very distinctly getting a couple doses of anti-venom, but it's too late. I die, and I see my mother crying while holding my hand. I watch for a few minutes, then I wake up. Weird as hell nightmare, right? But nothing to freak out about. So I go about my day, play with my friends and whatnot. When I was walking home that evening, I just randomly thought about my dream. So I stopped a bit away from the door and actually looked around where the snake was in my dream. The motherfricker was exactly where I dreamt he was and basically staring at me, but never does rattle. Then a freaking rat goes darting down the side of my house. I change course and go to the front door instead. I tell my dad about the snake. He goes out and kills it with a shovel. I haven't had another dream that vivid of the future since. Crap still freaks me out though. Case file 1335. The Tale of the Snake Premonition. Now imagine the amount of people who have similar dreams, premonitions of the future, but disregard them entirely. Go about their day even when it's oh so eerily familiar when they are in real life matching whatever they dreamed about. Because even the notion of accepting something beyond the fully known and accepted is in of itself more terrifying to these people than having this kind of gift to them, the gift of future knowledge. It's kind of sad to think on that. But at least there are exceptions to the rule, like yourself. And I would encourage anyone else, if you ever have a premonition, take it seriously. Maybe it won't pan out, but it's better to be safe than sorry, right? Certainly the case in this story. Bonus file written by Bongo1138, The Orchard Enigma. I was in a Christian youth group as a high schooler. It was fun. We'd get together and there was a worship aspect. But mostly it was a way for teenagers to hang out and not get into trouble. We'd all do things together on the weekends. Halo 2 LAN parties, hikes, that sort of thing. One weekend, the group was just going to play flashlight tag. A man at the church owned a large chunk of land just outside of town, and there was an orchard on this property, the kind where the trees form these nearly perfect rows. For safety, we were buddied up and I was partnered with what was basically a junior counselor named Finn. My best friend, Matt, was partnered with James. Finn and I were it, meaning we carried a flashlight and would be searching for people when we were wandering one of these near-perfect rows. James manages to sneak past us and sprint back towards the cars, which I guess had deemed the safety zone. Finn, flashlight in hand, says, "Stay here," and runs after James, leaving me alone in these woods. Alone and admittedly a little skeeved out, I began to hear movement around me. I thought I had pinpointed the noise behind a bush and started slowly approaching it. "Matt? That you?" I called out. No response. Creeping closer, I say it again. Nothing. Then I hear movement behind me. I spun around, expecting to find Matt running off, but I didn't. I wish I did, but I didn't. Instead, standing before me is something short and stout, dark in color, but shining in the moonlight that had poked through the tree coverage. It had black eyes and stood on two legs. I squinted, thinking it might just be a stump, but it shifted slightly. I bolted back towards the car. I don't know how far it was, but I was back at the car before long, where I stayed for the rest of the game. Sitting on the bumper, I considered what I had seen and figured it must have been a raccoon after all. They weren't uncommon around here. It didn't look like a raccoon, but that's the only reasonable explanation. One by one, Kids made their way back to the cars until finally the senior counselor arrived. He was pale and shaking and wanted us to huddle up. He asked that we say a prayer and go, which we did. In the car, I asked him, "What was that about?" He didn't want to tell me, but I finally got it out of him. I was walking down the path and heard something. I turned around and there was this small, two-legged thing running towards me. I put the light on it and it was like nothing I'd ever seen before. Needless to say, I was freaking freaked out. Case notes for the bonus file. The Orchard Enigma. Freaking freaked out indeed. I remember growing up, nothing would really scare me directly, unless I saw either my dad or teacher afraid of something too. Usually big insects or other animals. Nothing supernatural for me, but still. As a kid, you truly revere authority figures close to your life, like your parents or teachers, your pastors if you go to church. And if they're fearful of something, that emotion seeps deep into your soul, and it isn't easily removed. Processing that fear is very difficult, and fear is indeed the most primal of all emotions, so we're not always logical or able to apply logic. In this case, maybe it wasn't anything supernatural, just a weird animal that no one saw before. Or maybe it was something even from a different universe, though that can happen too. Good thing it didn't attack you. And now time for the quote of the day. If your success is not on your own terms, if it looks good to the world but does not feel good in your heart, it is not success at all. Anna Quindlen. And this is less of a quote that I will just expand on a lot. For me, I'm more curious to know, what is success to you? For me, success in my current life story is just managing this channel, growing it, and also eventually having land and literally building my own cabin with just a hammer, like raw physical tools, no power tools. I always found that, I don't want to say cheating, because obviously the goal is just to build efficiently so more people can have houses, but if it's something you're doing just for yourself, I don't know. There's almost something spiritual about it, building something raw like that. And of course it'll take longer, but I wouldn't be in a rush. Maybe that's the other part of it. I don't want to feel like I'm in a rush. When you focus too much on efficiency, then part of it is just, we gotta go, get this done. Like, slow down, smell the roses, take a cup of coffee. You'll be okay. But that's just for me. So what is success to you? Let me know. Like the video, subscribe, hit the bell. Kinetic Symphony signing off.